and he's been through a lot of recent controversies, and going all the way back to beer and chicken, then the Valentine thing, then last year with Eckersley and maybe even Farrell beyond that, and so I don't know. I mean, he could be a future manager though. I mean, I know that's how a lot of people look at him, and I don't know how I feel about that, but I liked when Travis Shaw was here. I did like it, if Shaw botched a catch, from Pedroia when he was playing first, you'd see Pedroia getting his face in the dugout. I kind of like that a little bit, and if that's the manager that Pedroia would be, then fine, I'd entertain that, but I don't like a lot about him,
I would like him as a manager just from the straight up baseball IQ. I mean, you see stories all the time of him picking up hitting mechanics, something of a throwing mechanic for Price he picked up. Hitting mechanics like JBJ over the last couple of years, and even like little injury things he's picked up on players. His IQ is very high, and he's very like with it. You know what I mean? His eyes are always looking around everywhere. He's not like tunnel vision, just like on himself. I like that part of him as a manager. I mean, we're 10 years away from that, but I mean,
he could be a Girardi type guy. I think. I mean, that's kind of the influence I see him having. In a way.
I was just thinking Molitor.
What's his face out in St. Louis? McCarthy?
Oh, Matheny. Yeah.
Matheny. Yeah, Matheny.
I was thinking Molitor in Minnesota.
Molitor, yeah.
Isn't he a little more lovey-dovey though?
A shade, but I know Dozier's talked about the fact that he's gotten in his face a few times, and I'm like, I like this.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't obviously watch a ton of Twins games. I thought I would be, but they just haven't been.
It's just not yet.
They've been underperforming, so it just hasn't been that interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that, but I definitely think we're looking at weeks, more than days with Pedroia.
Yeah, and it should be. Let the guy heal.
Yeah. We touched on Nunez. I'm not as down on him as you guys are. His base running frustrates me as much as anything, and he definitely does have his defensive issues, at least at second base. But eventually, doesn't it have to get to the point where you have to consider at least a brief minor league stint for Devers at some point? Because, I mean, he's hitting, I think, let's see.
226.
226.
Yeah, I was thinking 220-ish.
And his...
I actually have his stats up now because, ironically, it works out that last year he played 58 games for the Red Sox. This year, we played 57. So we can kind of take the sample size and say pretty much the same thing. A minus 5 at-bats from last year. And across the board, obviously it's lower in some things and higher in the other. So it's interesting. I mean, he's striking out more. That's what it is this year. And I think that just he's not getting as lucky as he was last year.
Bad when your manager has to bribe you with gift cards for you to take balls.
That's the thing, yeah. But he's also 21 years old. Maybe does he have a minor league stint? I don't mind it. I just think
he's
right
21.
now,
He's going to wind up back there at some point anyway.
Yeah, I think you need him in the lineup right now because of the injuries and because of the inconsistencies. Like, you look at Nunez tonight, he took that ball off the wrist. If that breaks his wrist, then where are we? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was 2 or 3 times tonight that I thought that Nunez was going to have to leave the game.
Yeah, me too. And he might not play the next game. He might take the day out because of that and have Holt at second, Devers back at third.
Adam Lind was just picked up, and that was kind of ahead of the Pedroia development. So I don't know if he's played time at third base or where he fits in depth-wise, but he had a decent year last year with the Nationals. So I'm curious to see if that'll factor into any of this. But the thing I'm concerned about is I just don't know that that Devers is gonna figure things out here at the major league level. And if you go back to last season, we all wanted Mike Moustakas to, be that rental player that we picked up. And I mean, his personality is awesome for Fenway. I mean, he's the type of guy you want, that gritty, I can't.
Yeah, he was a tough player.
He would have been
Yeah.
That was the guy most of us wanted, and Kansas City, wanted to stick it out because they knew they weren't going to get much value for most of these guys, and to me it made sense for them to try, to get into a wild card, and I didn't blame him for that, but Moustakas didn't get dealt, and so that was our big need last year, and Sandoval mercifully was finally DFA'd and off the team, and there was all this talk. Devers was hitting very good, and they kept asking, is it possible for him to get brought up? And all they would do for most of the month of July is just downplay it and say, no, probably not. We don't want to rush the guy, and that's all you heard. And then very abruptly, we did get Nunez actually, and then they said further that Devers would in fact be called up, and it was just kind of weird because the rhetoric.
It was like the day of too.
Yeah. And I get looking back on it, Pedroia wasn't healthy, so maybe they were thinking, second base there for Nunez or whatever.
Another utility guy.
Yeah.
Devers played great last year though.
He did. He did.
And his power numbers are the same this year.
Yeah, I don't. His plate discipline is just fucking atrocious. He was swinging at shit in the dirt, multiple times in the dirt, in various at bats.
Yeah, I think popping shit up too, like just straight up, like down the middle, popping it up.
Yeah,
golf swing.
His OBP right now is 280.
Yeah,
so
that looks good. That's a good number.
280.
Yeah, real great. Good average. He had 284 last year. His OPP is almost the same.
God damn it.
Well, no, he should be. 320 should be about. I'm looking at the rest of them right now. Betts 437, Martinez 381, Holt 384, Benintendi 381, Moreland 355, Bogarts.
No, Devers has been atrocious this year when it comes to plate discipline and taking walks, even though it's it's funny. He has the same amount of walks as last year, 17 and 18. So that's funny. But
that's hilarious.
It's weird. Like, his stats are weird. Like, he's got 17 walks this year and 28 RBIs. Last year he had 30 RBIs and 18 walks. He had 64 Ks this year, 57 last year. So he's still striking out a ton last year. It's just the hits. He had 63 hits at this point last year. This year he only has 49.
A lot of it can contribute that they kind of know where to pitch him at this point. Once you get 50 ABs in, you get enough of a scouting report.
Yeah, they're learning where to go, and it's straight up his contact, his singles. He has 11 doubles. He had 15 last year. He has 9 homers. He had 10 last year. So his slugging percentage is 401 now, 46 there. Obviously, 85 points is a big jump, but you get what I'm saying. It's the singles. It's just him not going 2 for 3, 2 for 4.
So he's Joey Gallo.
He's turning into
he's worse Joey Gallo.
Technically better because Joey Gallo got only 210.
That's right.
Yeah,
that in baseball.
Joe Gallo is an interesting fellow. He's very much like Chris Davis in Oakland, because Chris Davis in Baltimore is probably the worst contract in baseball.
Yeah. It totally is. If Chris Davis was a free agent last offseason, he would have got a Moustakas deal for like $5 million.
Yeah, he definitely would have.
And he's getting
that's the right offseason.
That's it, dude. Like, this offseason, you better be good at baseball.
The Orioles did that to themselves, though. Like, nobody else was in that neighborhood. And, the Red Sox kind of did that with Hanley. Like, nobody was really bidding against them when they brought him in. And I don't know.
Well, yeah, that was the whole thing about JD Martinez this offseason. Don't bid against yourselves. We were the only people, like,
they learn from their mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. And they got him for what they should have got him for. And well played by Dombrowski. Probably the best signing he's had.
100%. That's the best free agent signing since Manny.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to look at it, because we haven't really had a good track record. One of my writers, Josh Nord, said that the only 2 players that actually served out their whole free agency, one was Chris Young and the other was someone basically equally as awful, because everybody else got.
Chris Young.
Chris Young was okay, right? Wasn't
He was a feral dog though.
Yeah, I can't. If they're platooning Benintendi with him, I have to hate him. You know.
That's true.
Yeah,
That made me upset.
Yeah.
Chris Davis is also under contract until 2020 when he's 36 years old. Oh no, I'm sorry, 2022.
Right, and
yeah, I was about to say, I think it's 22. Like that is awful.
Oh yeah, no, I just can't read, so that's why.
But actually, though, that's his for his service time of the contract. They actually deferred money 15 years from now.
Oh my God, there's $42 million deferred until 2037.
Yes.
Oh my God, he's got no trade.
That's how bad that contract is, dude. It sucks to be.
Oh my God.
I think it probably sucks to be an Orioles fan right now more than it does to be a Marlins fan, to be honest with you.
He's the fourth highest.
Because the Marlins fans didn't have faith.
He's the fourth highest first baseman paid in the league, 31st in the MLB total.
Who's ahead of him? Votto, Cabrera.
I'll click on it right now. Cabrera, Votto, and Mauer.
Oh my God.
Find out who his agent is and then get him to represent you.
Boris.
I'm
pretty sure it's Boris.
It's Boris.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% it's Boris.
Oh, it's Boris. Of course it's Boris.
Well,
He's like, hey, defer this money.
Hey, I need a job when I retire. Defer this money, please.
What a pension for him, yeah. So
Seriously,
You wonder if the Orioles thought they were signing the other Chris Davis.
That's touche.
This is Chris with a C.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a contract right there. Do you guys want to talk about we gotta talk about Drew Pomeranz real quick. I know it's
Can
late,
we?
but we gotta touch on him. I really want to hear Austin's take because Austin actually has a Drew Pomeranz pillowcase and he lays on it every night and kisses it goodnight. He loves the guy.
Oh, I hate that motherfucker. I've gotten to the point where I listen to the starts that he has. I don't watch them because it angers me so much the fact that this idiot, I don't even want to watch the first 3 innings. It's gotten to that point. I have an idea. Let's not throw a 12-6 curveball over the middle of the plate and just let them launch off of it.
Well, where else
That'd
do you
be
want to throw it?
What the Red Sox need to do is bring back John Farrell, pay him a nice sum of money to walk into the dugout and be like, Drew, you suck, you can't pitch or whatever, and let them, recreate the Oakland, throwdown they had.
Yeah.
What we need is a art museum on the go, so that this idiot can go into his art museum, throw 6 good innings the next day, and we'll be all right. But he's forgotten how to baseball. And I'm upset.
He has forgotten how to baseball, and it's sad because for him, he's not going to make more than $8.5 million next year. No way, right?
Nope.
And it's after the Red Sox because he's got a 7 ERA, and we kind of don't need that right now. So it's really a lose-lose. And I really need – I was telling Terry this before, we need a phantom injury from him. I want Wright in the lineup. Terry wants Velasquez. So either or works for me, though.
Yeah, that's a good segue into the next segment, actually.
Hooray!
I mean, having Wright in the rotation makes a ton of sense. I mean, he's pitching very well. He pitched very well in 2016 when he was healthy, and I forgive him for his off the field stuff. And I think he's a very serviceable starter, maybe even a middle of the rotation guy. But the thing with Wright is, go back a few weeks ago when he got activated, a bunch of us were freaking out about the bullpen because they weren't pitching well and they weren't being very consistent. And then you bring him back and he can go 2 or 3 innings on a given night, so Matt Barnes can take a night off to kind of clear the cobwebs out of his head, and Kelly could have a night off here and there. I just think he gave that bullpen a ton of stability, and I like that, and I think he likes that role as well. So while I don't think Velasquez is quite as good as him, I think we still win more games with Wright in the bullpen.
I think that Wright is comfortable in that role, and I think throwing a knuckleballer in the middle of a game, especially when we have guys throwing hard like Sale, and even Price recently who's throwing pretty hard, is definitely like a legitimate curveball at him.